I never thought I'd be in this position, questioning my entire relationship and future marriage over a photograph. But here I am, feeling lost, confused, and honestly a little heartbroken. Let me start from the beginning. My fiancée and I have been together for about 3 years now. We met through mutual friends at a local charity event, and it was like something out of a romantic comedy. Our eyes locked across the room. We struck up a conversation, and before we knew it, hours had passed. From that moment on, we were inseparable. Our relationship progressed naturally and beautifully. We moved in together after a year, adopted a dog together, and started building a life that I thought was perfect. 6 months ago, I proposed to her during a sunset picnic at our favorite spot in the local park. She said yes, and I felt like the luckiest man alive. Everything was going smoothly until we started planning our wedding. We were sitting at our dining table one evening, surrounded by wedding magazines, sample invitations, and a half-eaten pizza. The atmosphere was light and excited as we discussed various details: the venue, the guest list, the color scheme. Then, out of nowhere, she dropped a bombshell that shook me to my core. "Where do you think Mark's picture could go?" she asked casually, as if she were discussing where to place a floral arrangement. I was confused. "Mark," I asked, racking my brain to remember if we had a relative or friend by that name who was particularly important to her. She looked at me with a mix of surprise and what I now recognize as defensiveness. "Mark, my late husband." I felt like I'd been punched in the gut. Of course, I knew about Mark. She had told me about him early in our relationship, how they had been high school sweethearts, married young, and how he had tragically passed away in a car accident 5 years before we met. I had always been respectful of her past and understood that Mark would always hold a special place in her heart. But never in a million years did I expect him to have a place at our wedding. Seeing my confusion, she went into more detail. "I was thinking one of my bridesmaids could hold his picture during the ceremony," she explained, her voice growing more animated. "And we could have his picture on our table at the reception. Oh, and when we're taking photos, I'd like to hold his picture in most of them." I sat there, stunned into silence. My mind was reeling, trying to process what she was saying. I could feel a knot forming in my stomach, a mixture of shock, hurt, and if I'm being honest, a twinge of jealousy. After what felt like an eternity, I found my voice. I don't think I'm comfortable with that," I said softly, trying to keep my tone gentle despite the turmoil I was feeling inside. Her face fell, and I could see a flash of anger in her eyes. "What do you mean you're not comfortable with? Mark was a huge part of my life. He still is." I took a deep breath, trying to organize my thoughts. "I understand that Mark was important to you, and I respect that. But this is our wedding day. It's supposed to be about us, our love, our future together. Having his picture so prominently displayed, it just doesn't feel right to me." She stood up abruptly, her chair scraping loudly against the floor. "I can't believe you're being like this. Mark will always be a part of me. Having him there is important to me." I stood up too, feeling a need to be on equal footing. "I'm not trying to erase him from your life, but don't you think it's a bit much to have him in our wedding photos? To have someone hold his picture during our vows? This is supposed to be the start of our life together." That's when things really escalated. Her face turned red, and she exploded. "I can't believe you're jealous. He's fucking dead. What, do you think I'm gonna fuck him at our wedding?" Her words hit me like a slap in the face. I stepped back, physically recoiling from the venom in her voice. In that moment, I saw a side of her I'd never seen before, and it terrified me. I didn't mean," I stammered, but she had already stormed out of the room, leaving me alone with our half-finished wedding plans and a growing sense of dread. The next few days were tense. We barely spoke, dancing around each other in our apartment like wary strangers. I spent a lot of time thinking, trying to understand her perspective while also grappling with my own feelings. On one hand, I could understand her desire to honor Mark's memory. He had been a significant part of her life, and his death had undoubtedly shaped who she is today. I've always known that she still loves him in a way, and I've never tried to compete with a ghost. But on the other hand, I couldn't shake the feeling that having his picture so prominently displayed at our wedding was inappropriate and frankly hurtful to me. This was supposed to be our day, a celebration of our love and commitment to each other. How could I stand at the altar, professing my love and dedication to her, while a picture of her late husband watched from the front row? The more I thought about it, the more unsettled I became. It wasn't just about the wedding anymore. It made me question our entire relationship. Had I always been competing with Mark's memory without realizing it? Was I just a replacement, a living stand-in for the man she really wanted to be with? After a week of stilted conversations and sleepless nights, I made a decision that I never thought I'd have to make. I sat her down and told her that I thought we should postpone the wedding. The look of shock and hurt on her face nearly broke my resolve, but I knew I had to stand firm. "I love you," I told her, my voice cracking with emotion. "But this situation has made me realize that we might not be on the same page about our relationship and our future together. I think we need to take some time to really think about what we both both want. She didn't say anything for a long time, just sat there with tears streaming down her face. Finally, she nodded and whispered, "Maybe you're right. That was 2 weeks ago. We're still living together, but it feels like we're worlds apart. I've been sleeping on the couch, unable to bear the thought of lying next to her in our bed, wondering if she's thinking of Mark. I've talked to my friends and family about the situation, seeking advice and support. Their opinions are divided. Some think I'm overreacting, that I should be more understanding of her grief and her desire to honor her late husband's memory. Others are firmly on my side, saying that her request is inappropriate and disrespectful to me and our relationship. My best friend, Tom, put it bluntly, "Dude, you can't marry someone who's still married to a ghost." His words have been echoing in my head ever since. The truth is, I'm seriously considering calling off the wedding altogether. It's not a decision I'm making lightly. I love her deeply, and the thought of losing her is devastating. But I can't shake the feeling that if we can't agree on this fundamental issue, we might not be ready for marriage at all. I find myself wondering if I'm being unreasonable. Am I letting my insecurities get the best of me? Should I be more understanding of her need to keep Mark's memory alive? But then I imagine standing at the altar, exchanging vows while a bridesmaid holds Mark's picture, and I feel sick to my stomach. I'll try to compromise. I suggested we could have a small photo of Mark at the memorial table, along with photos of other loved ones who have passed away. But she insists it's not enough, that he deserves a more prominent place in the ceremony and photos. Every time we try to discuss it, we end up arguing. She accuses me of being jealous and insensitive, while I feel like she's not considering my feelings at all. It's like we're speaking different languages, unable to understand each other's perspective. I love her, and I want to spend my life with her. But I want to be her husband, her partner, her future, not a consolation prize or a replacement for what she's lost. I want our wedding day to be about us, about the love we've built together and the life we're planning to share. Is that so wrong? Am I being selfish for wanting our wedding to focus on our relationship rather than her past? I honestly don't know anymore. As I sit here writing this, I'm at a loss. I never imagined that planning our wedding would lead to me questioning our entire relationship. I'm hurt, confused, and frankly, a little angry. I feel like I'm competing with a memory, and it's a battle I can never win. I know that grief is complex and that everyone deals with loss differently. I've always tried to be supportive and understanding of her past, but I can't help feeling that by insisting on having Mark's picture so prominently displayed at our wedding, she's not fully committed to our future together. I'm at a crossroads, and I don't know which way to turn. Do I compromise my feelings and agree to her wishes, potentially starting our marriage with resentment? Do I stand firm and risk losing the woman I love? Or do I walk away now, before we make a commitment that we might not be ready for? For now, the wedding is postponed indefinitely. We're in a strange limbo, still together, but with this huge, unresolved issue hanging over us. I'm considering suggesting couples therapy, hoping that a neutral third party might help us navigate this complex situation. But in my heart, I'm afraid that this might be the end of our relationship. The thought breaks my heart, but I'm starting to wonder if it might be for the best. Maybe we both need more time, her to fully process her grief, and me to figure out if I can truly be okay with always sharing her heart with Mark's memory. I never thought a photograph could cause so much pain and confusion. But here I am, questioning everything I thought I knew about our relationship, all because of a picture. I don't know what the future holds, but I know that whatever decision I make will change my life forever. I just hope I have the strength to make the right choice, whatever that may be.